My name is Margaret. I'm 73 years old, and I've lived my entire life in a small town tucked somewhere between the Texas countryside and fading memories. I live alone in the same old white farmhouse my husband and I bought right after we got married. It's quiet out here, too quiet sometimes. The kind of quiet that makes your own thoughts echo louder than they should. I've learned to live with silence, though. After all, silence was all I had when my son disappeared. It's been 20 years since that day. 20 long, aching years. His name was Daniel. He was my only child. My husband passed a few years after. Daniel went missing. His heart just couldn't take it. And mine kept beating, but it never really healed. I still remember that summer day like it happened yesterday. Daniel was 15. He was tall, strong, and stubborn just like his father. He told me he was going out with his friends to fish by the old creek. I made him a peanut butter sandwich and told him to be home before dark. He smiled, kissed my cheek, and ran out the door. That was the last time I saw him. The sheriff and volunteers searched for weeks. They found his fishing rod near the water, his backpack a few miles downstream, but no sign of Daniel. Some said he drowned, others whispered about kidnappers passing through town. Nobody knew for sure. For months, I didn't sleep. Every time the phone rang, I thought it was him. Every knock on the door made my heart leap. I'd run to open it, but it was always someone else, neighbor. Police, reporters, sympathy I didn't ask for. Then, silence. Life moved on for everyone except me. People stopped mentioning his name. The world forgot my boy, but I didn't. Every year, on his birthday, I baked his favorite chocolate cake. I'd sit at the table with an empty chair and whisper, "Happy birthday, Danny." Years passed. My hair turned gray, my hands wrinkled, and the walls of this house became my only company. I stopped expecting miracles. Until last winter. It was a cold evening in December. I remember the wind howling outside, rattling the windows like it always did. I was sitting by the fireplace with a cup of tea when I heard a knock. 3 soft knocks at the door. At first, I thought I imagined it. Hardly anyone visits me anymore. But there it was again. Knock, knock, knock. I got up slowly, my knees aching like they always do, and opened the door. A man stood there. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. His clothes were worn, and his face looked tired. He had a beard, deep eyes, and a scar above his left eyebrow. There was something familiar about him, though I couldn't quite place it. "Can I help you?" I asked. He just stared at me for a few seconds. His eyes started to glisten. Then he said softly, "Mom, it's me." I froze. I thought maybe I misheard him, or maybe this was some cruel prank. But when he said it again, I felt my heart skip. "Mom, it's me, Daniel." I just stood there, trembling. My teacup slipped from my hand and shattered on the floor. For a moment, the world went quiet, like everything had stopped spinning. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to, but my mind couldn't catch up with my heart. I looked at him closer, those brown eyes, that dimple on his chin. It was him. Older, thinner, broken. But my son, I pulled him into my arms and cried harder than I'd cried in 20 years. He hugged me back so tight, I thought he'd never let go. After what felt like forever, we sat by the fire. I kept holding his hands like if I let go, he'd disappear again. "Where have you been, Daniel?" I asked through tears. "What happened to you?" He hesitated. His face changed, like he was searching for the right words. "Mom," he said, voice shaking, "I was taken. That day by the creek. Someone grabbed me." My heart dropped. He went on to tell me bits and pieces. A black truck. A man with a tattoo on his arm. Being locked in a basement for years. Moving from place to place. People who treated him like he didn't exist. My baby had been living in a nightmare. I couldn't breathe listening to it. But there was something strange in the way he spoke. He never looked me directly in the eye when he told certain parts. And whenever I asked who took him, he'd go quiet. Days passed. He stayed with me. I made him all his favorite meals, washed his clothes, and watched him sleep on the old couch. I was terrified he'd vanish again, but then little things started to feel off. He didn't remember small things about his childhood, like the name of his first pet, the neighbor's dog he used to play with, or how he used to call me Mama instead of Mom. I told myself trauma could do that. Then one night, I woke up to noises downstairs. I grabbed my cane and walked quietly to the kitchen. The light was on. Daniel was standing there, going through my drawers. "Daniel," I whispered. He turned around, startled. "Mom, I was just looking for a spoon," he said, too quickly. But his hands weren't near the silverware drawer, they were in the cabinet, where I kept my old lockbox. The one that had my husband's documents and a small stash of cash. I didn't say anything, but a chill ran down my spine. The next morning, I went to town to get groceries. When I came back, he was gone. The lockbox was open. My husband's wedding ring, a few $100s, and some family paper. My heart sank. That night, I called the sheriff. They came over, took a report, and asked for any details about Daniel. I gave them everything. Photos, old police reports, everything I had. 2 days later, the sheriff called me back. "Margaret," he said carefully, "we found the man you described. He's in custody, but it's not your son." My hands went numb. He explained that the man was a con artist. He'd been posing as missing family members to trick elderly people out of money and valuables. They'd found fake IDs and photos in his car, dozens of them. I couldn't believe it. For days, I just sat by the window, staring at the road, hoping somehow my real Daniel would still come home. Then, about a week later, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Inside was a photograph, old, faded, and creased. It was of a young man in a shelter, dated 12 years ago. On the back, someone had written, "He's still out there." There was no name, no explanation. Just that. To this day, I don't know who sent it. I don't know if it was real, but I keep that photo on my bedside table. Because maybe, just maybe, somewhere in this world, my son is still alive, and every time I hear a knock on my door, I still hope it's him. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. And let me know in the comments where you're listening from.